But first, we turn to this story that captivated the nation, and it does so to this day. The miracle on the Hudson, that successful emergency landing of a flight bound for Charlotte in New York's Hudson River. All 155 people on board survived. Now, WCNC Charlotte sent a crew to New York hours after this happened.
And tonight, we're hearing from them about what it was like to witness and then report really on history. WCNC Charlotte's Michelle Bowden also covered the story and joins us now with this unique angle.
I was actually sent to the Charlotte airport. We assumed loved ones would gather there, as they typically do when a plane crashes, awaiting word on survivors. But here's the crazy part, the best part. No one showed up because everyone made it. And my colleagues and friends got to cover that part of this amazing story. Every newsroom has a wall of TVs, and on this day, every TV showed the same picture.
Departing LaGuardia Airport for Charlotte, North Carolina today.
And I walked in and could see the TV sets in the newsroom, and I wasn't sure what I was looking at. It looked like a plane in the water with people standing on the wing.
Veteran reporter Rad Berkey was standing in the WCNC newsroom on January 15th, 2009.
The bosses came over and said, you and Jen are going to New York to cover this.
Within the hour, they were at Charlotte Douglas and on a plane to cover another plane that would soon become part of history.
We had to be live at 11 with something. So if we could get to where the plane was, but then I thought we're going to have to go to hospitals and do the families at the hospitals. Some would be mourning, some would be praying, but everybody was alive.
Both thought they were headed to cover a plane crash, a terrible tragedy, until Rad made a quick call to check in with his wife back here in Charlotte, who was glued to news coverage.
And she said, at this point, as far as we know, everybody's alive. So when we get there, instead of what we thought could possibly be just one of the worst tragedies we would ever go through, everybody was alive. Everybody was happy. Nobody expected it was going to be like that.
Getting up there in the nick of time to do the 11 o'clock news, and then standing out there freezing with this massive plane behind us sticking out of the water.
There was talk he was headed for Teterboro across the Dark River in New Jersey.
And I thought, how did this stay together? How did this plane stay together? And what those passengers standing on the wings must have wondered.
Everyone lived. We were able to go be a part of history. Happy history.
Absolutely part of history. You just felt New York City take a breath. When you think back 15 years ago, that's a lot closer to 9/11 than where we are now. And to see a plane flying erratically around New York City, that sent chills up spines at people. But then to find out that it's going to land in the Hudson River, and the man in the cockpit managed to bring it in safely without that plane breaking apart. You just can't imagine ever telling a story like that.
The pilot chose his only alternative, the river, and he did it safely.
Even that night, people started calling it a miracle.
Yes, this was a miracle. You heard a lot that night that this was a miracle. I think everybody who was there covering it thought it was going to be a lot worse. I was just so relieved that everybody was okay.
Rad has since retired, but like me, still stays in touch with some of the passengers. We both agree it is one of the coolest stories we've ever been lucky enough to tell. Back to you.
A miracle indeed.
Wild stuff.
I know. Well, tonight at 8:30, we do invite you to walk back in time with us and watch our coverage from that day 15 years ago. In our latest From the Archives episode, you're going to see more from our crews on that chaotic day as the dramatic landing unfolded in New York. So you can check this episode out where you stream content, and this will only be on the WCNC Plus app.
So many parts of that story, but the skill of Sully to bring that plane down.
I know.